man. Welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network and is episode number 117 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from April 23rd, 1994, taped April 4th, 1994 at the Anderson County High School in Clinton, Tennessee. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Killer Kyle to my Bruiser Bedlam. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
Well, if you're just going to insult me right at the top of the podcast, I'm going to go do something else. Degrading. The fuck you trying to
What?
say to me, Arya?
I think Killer Kyle has been a regular on the show. He's been on the show since episode one, you know, which you haven't been. So I thought it was a nice bump up for you that I would refer to you as such.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you've got a better me coming in next week, and you're telling me that I got a team with the Dark Secret next week.
Well, wouldn't that better me or better you be me? So I'd be replacing you with me?
I guess you had a really good time reading your book on the podcast by yourself.
Oh, I had loads of fun that week, but that wasn't even this show. That was the Tuesday show.
Oh, sorry. I forget that they're technically different shows.
Yes, how dare you not rightfully acknowledge the differences between that show and this show.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is the Smoky Mountain Rewatch Along Project, ladies and gentlemen. 200 episodes, 200 weeks. Well, I mean, we skip a week here and there, so it's like 210 weeks. But still, we're talking about all 200 episodes of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, one at a time. And here we are at episode number 117. I bet when you joined us at episode number whatever it was, 54, you did not think we were going to get all the way to 117, did you?
I didn't know if I was ever going to do it again after that one.
I, I'll be honest, I thought you would enjoy this show more than the Mid South World Class show. Especially, it was Mid South 83, which was not the best year for Mid South, even though World Class, you know, 83 World Class is a fantastic year of professional wrestling. And they kind of swapped spots, as we got into 84.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I enjoy both, although I fear that we have gotten through the best period of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and the past is the past.
I mean, I personally believe the best angle they did was the build up to that three-way match with the Rock and Roll Express and Arn Anderson versus the Stud Stable versus the Heavenly Bodies and Bobby Eaton. But there's still a lot of good stuff to come. You know,
Yeah.
we
Uh,
still have the Night of the Legends coming up. We still have the Super Bowl of Wrestling. We still have the Gangstas. We still have the return of Buddy
yeah.
Landell.
Yeah,
We
we'll get to it.
we still have Bobby Blaze as the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion to go.
Bobby Blaze, yeah.
Aren't you excited for Bobby Blaze, the Smoky Mountain Champion?
I watched the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Champion sell for a fucking mummy for way too long today.
Oh, that may legitimately be the worst match in Smoky Mountain Wrestling history.
I can't imagine Tony Anthony ever had a worse match.
Well, let's go to the intro of the show with Bob Caudle and Les Thatcher. And I want you to notice what they talk about that's going to happen on the show, and what they specifically do not mention on this show at all. Let's go to the intro right now.
Welcome to another
Oh, for fuck's sake.
action-packed hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. Hi, wrestling fans. I'm Bob Caudle, along with my good friend here, Les Thatcher. Les, we got a great hour for all our wrestling fans this week.
Bob, we certainly do. Commissioner Bob Armstrong is with us today. He's got a very special announcement, and I'm sure all the fans will be excited about that. And then, of course, we've got a personality profile with R&R, Rock and Roll Express today, so plus some other great matches.
Oh,
too.
you're right there. I tell you, we're going to see Chris Candido, Primetime Brian Lee. They're going to be together in a tag team match. That's something to look forward to.
Well, one's going to be in the ring, one will be on the apron. I'm curious to see if Candido's going to bring a sweat, because thus far, all I've seen him do is talk and make Lee do all the work.
Well, I think you're right there, Les. And I tell you, we got our Beat the Champ match, too. We got to draw for that. Who's going to be the lucky or unlucky one this week?
I would think, is Bruiser Bedlam is the TV champ, and we're going to find out who's going to beat the champ. Let me get in here and see if we can't get... All right. Let's see who is, as you mentioned, the unlucky gentleman today is going to be Bobby Blaze. Will be squaring off with Bruiser Bedlam in Beat the Champ today.
All right, fans, we got a lot of action coming up. Stay with us. Right now, let's go to the ring.
I gotta say, Bob Caudle, if I was Bobby Blaze, I'd be a little perturbed, because Bob Caudle is like, he sees Bobby Blaze's name being pulled, and he gets a look on his face like, oh man, we gotta watch this.
Bob was here the last time Bobby Blaze fought for the Beat the Champ TV title.
That is true. I gotta throw this out there because like I was having trouble with this video file when I was watching the show originally last night, and it appears to be continuing where it's like I press play, it plays for like a second and then stops, and like it almost has to load again. Hopefully that is not a continuous thing on this fucking episode, because I will pull my goddamn hair out. But
Yeah.
tell you what, the Beat the Champ today is very alliterative. Bruiser
It
Bedlam,
is?
Bobby Blaze. That's a lot of B's.
B.
Yes. And notably, they did not mention the whatchamacallit, the heavyweight title match.
Can you blame him?
I mean, if it's that bad, don't book the fucking match. That's my
Well,
thought. It's like if you're so embarrassed by it that you can't even plug it on your television show that it's going to air during. Here's the thing. It didn't get plugged in the intro. Okay, we've seen this before. Sometimes they forget to mention something and it gets, put into the opening segment. It doesn't get mentioned in the opening match. It doesn't get mentioned during interviews. It doesn't get mentioned during the second match. It never gets mentioned at all until the fucking mummy comes out for the match.
I guess I didn't think of it because as I was bringing up my notes program, I kind of scrolled down to last week to see something, I think to see the date, and I saw that the last thing that I wrote was that this week was the title match, and I just fucking groaned. So yeah, I it was not lost on me that what we were in for.
Well, the first match part of me of the show, tag team champions Rock and Roll Express versus the Dark Secret and Killer Kyle. So Killer Kyle, who has always been kind of protected, he's always gotten a little bit of a push. He's technically managed by Jim Cornette, even though that hasn't been a thing in what feels like 6 months to a year at this point. And the Dark Secret, who, if you recall, is BG James under a hood. Now, the match began with Killer Kyle and Robert Gibson. And do you know what was noteworthy about those two starting the match?
What's that?
They're the very first match in Smoky Mountain Wrestling history.
Oh, really?
Match number 1 of taping number 1, Robert Gibson versus Killer Kyle. And actually, the intro of the show, you can see Robert Gibson rolling up Killer Kyle for the win.
Oh, wow. Did not know that. How about that?
Yes. So Dark Secret did not want to get into the ring, but he got forced to, and we are informed, and we'll see this shortly, that we will hear from Dutch Mantel this week, who is in South America. And
Yeah. So
I don't know about you, but I made a crack about how, okay, these fucking stupid Americans don't understand that Puerto Rico is in North America. Well, turns out it's not just Bob Caudle not realizing where Puerto Rico was. But we'll get to that in a second. And
well,
Robert Pint, the secret with it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
technically speaking, Puerto Rico is an island in the sea between North and South America.
But it's considered part of North America.
Is it? Is it, or is it just because it's a U.S. territory?
I mean, I personally believe so, because you
because it's like because technically the entire country of Mexico is part of North America, but whenever people talk about like North America, they're talking about the US and Canada, and then like the rest is Latin America.
well, the thing is, people are stupid. But
Well, I know that.
Latin America is not an official continent. And to me, South America, and maybe I'm mistaken, maybe somebody will, somebody who isn't, geopolitical Bill Watts, will point this out differently. But to me, South America is just that giant landmass that, is considered South America.
Oh, really?
Like,
South America is the continent that's called South America?
listen, bitch, you know what I'm trying to say here. South America is that one giant landmass south of Mexico.
Okay, then why is North America not the one giant landmass north of fucking Honduras?
I was gonna say, what country is south of Mexico, Trey? Um, to some people it is, and to some people who understand that, there are individual countries, in the water there, they're like, oh, that's not just North America.
One of my favorite historical facts, you know that part of Mexico that's like just north of Central America that kind of loops up? It's called the Yucatan Peninsula.
Hmm.
Are you aware of this?
I am
You
aware
know,
of that, yes.
the word Yucatan was probably a Spanish misunderstanding of the Mayan term for I don't understand. The Spaniards got there and they asked the Mayans, "What is this place called?" And they replied, "I don't know what the fuck you're saying." And then, okay, this is the I don't know what the fuck you're saying peninsula.
Okay, well, keep in mind, I don't know how true your story is, and I don't know how true my story is.
No, that's
But when I
absolutely
went,
true.
okay, okay, fine, but when I went to Australia a decade ago, one of our tour guides was telling us about how kangaroos got their name, and it was that the settlers asked the whatchamacallit, oh my God,
Aborigines.
yes, the Aborigines, what are those bouncy things called? And kangaroo was the word for I don't understand what you're saying.
So this happens a lot. Yeah, it makes sense.
Apparently, yes.
I bet it's a lot of other terms too.
Yep. I was going to say something very interesting, I'm sure, but I forget what it was. Any thoughts on this tag team opener?
I How much do you think Killer Kyle's fucking hates Bruiser Bedlam?
See, I don't know if it really matters because, like, it's kind of like when you think about like modern day wrestling, where no matter what your spot on the card is, your check is going to look exactly the same every 2 weeks, regardless. And so it's like heels don't sell merchandise. And so Killer Kyle's going to get his $100, whether he is jobbing to the Rock and Roll Express in the opener or the Beat the Champ television champion in the mid card slash upper mid card.
You think they got $100 for TV?
I think that's what Cornette said he owed either New Jack or Mustafa, whichever one didn't show up to TV that time when they both quit to go to ECW.
Okay.
But that's also 1995, so maybe, it changed.
I'm sorry. For people who don't know the frame of reference and are confused about what we're talking about, typically in territory wrestling, you got paid off of the gate for the house shows. TV was often considered like a freebie or an advertisement. You're working to sell yourself, to sell tickets. But like the job guys would get, $50 or $100 or whatever, because that was their job.
Yeah. Steve Corino told the story when he was an extra on a WWF TV taping, and he was a mark that got beat up by Crush. He got a bonus of $200 because Vince thought he was a really good mark.
Yeah, still got to happen.
By the way, and because I love that shoot interview with Corino, so I went and hunted down that episode of WWF Superstars. Crush had beaten Freddie Joe Floyd, aka Tracy Smothers, in the match where he beat up Steve Corino, who was a mark in the crowd.
There's a really funny video that I saw years ago of Corino was telling a story. He was doing a seminar or something. He was telling a story in the ring and talking about, I guess it was him and C.W. Anderson against Ricky Choshu and Kohei Sato in 0-1. And like fucking Choshu got so pissed off at CW for slapping his leg that he tagged in, dragged Anderson to the corner and made him tag out.
Tremendous. Anytime, because of Steve Corino now, anytime I ever see Tajiri, all I ever think is how Corino talks about how Tajiri kayfabes his English. And apparently he managed Tajiri for like 6 months to a year and had no idea Tajiri could speak English because Tajiri kayfabed him the whole time. And then when they were feuding, they had a tag match, and whoever they were teaming with were getting the center of attention on the other side of the ring. And Tajiri told Corino basically to stop doing anything because no one's paying attention to them. And Corino's like, "You motherfucker!" And even though Tajiri was the baby face, he had to beg off because Corino was chasing him all over the place.
I remember Eddie Guerrero in his book was talking, when he had that brief team with Tajiri, that he's like, yeah, I knew that he spoke more English than he let on about and a little Spanish, and that I had enough locker room Japanese that it worked.
Oh, Lord. Gotta love this shit. So after the Rock and Roll Express win, we're going to attempt to play we're going to attempt to play Bob Caudle pitching it to a video of Dutch in South America. And we have an appearance by, this is becoming my favorite gimmick on the show. We have an appearance by Timothy Weld, Stephen Dunn. They're the team of Well Done.
Earlier we told you that the mystery's going to be solved. Wait a minute. We got something to say.
Last week you cut us off. We got something to say.
No, you guys aren't scheduled. You got to be scheduled. You're not scheduled to be out here. You got to be scheduled.
Oh, come the fuck on. Folks, I'm sorry for this.
What
I'm
happened?
gonna have to just... The video file's just being a fucking pain in the ass. I actually ended up having to watch the goddamn show on YouTube because it was just not cooperating, and I may have to do that here. One minute here. Yeah. So what you hear, by the way, is Well Done. They are upset because they're not getting any promo time. 1 second, I'm just gonna move this over to YouTube. 1 second here.
Moving it over to YouTube. I haven't had any problem with my files. Oh.
I don't. Honestly, I'm not even sure what the hell's causing it. Because all of a sudden now it's like not loading properly, or it's loading, but then it's fucking just being a pain in the balls. Okay, let's go back to that right now. Let me unmute it.
You're not scheduled to be out here. You got to be scheduled. I want you to see that tape from Dutch Mantel in South America. Let's watch it right here, fans.
Don't you turn it off! What are you doing? Come on!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Down and Dirty with Dutch. You may have noticed I'm not on the Smoky Mountain telecast today, and there's a reason for that, because I'm gonna try to get to it in a minute. What I did. I'm in a South American country, and I'd like to tell you where I am, but I can't, because some people who are trying to find me, they watch television too, and if I told you where I was, then they'd know where I am, and then they may come and see me. It's a deal where I got some late night phone calls, and some bad looking people started following me around, and I just thought maybe it'd be beneficial to my health, maybe if I just left the continental United States. And I know a lot of people worried about me. I know Bob Collar, you're worried about me, and some other people there in Smoky Mountain. Rest assured then that I'm okay. I got some good neighbors here. Robert Vesco is one of my neighbors, and I talked to him quite a bit, and he sort of tried to smarten me up about some things going on in the international community. But I'm not there. I hope to be back soon. So fans, don't worry about me. I will be okay, and I will be back shortly. What? Uh-oh. What? Wait a minute. These are my bodyguards, Paco and Julio.
No, Julio.
Julio, what is it? What?
I see some very
Where?
amigo there, and we have.
Okay, fans, my bodyguards have spotted some people. We got to go. I'll talk to you later.
That, unfortunately, is the last time we ever see Dutch Mantel on this show.
I guess whoever was on the beach got him.
Yeah. By the way, Robert Vesco, and I don't think I'd ever heard this name, but Robert Vesco was an American criminal financier. So, yeah, he's just, yeah. If you're into that kind of thing, he's one of those people you kind of know who the hell he is.
If anybody actually knows Puerto Rican wrestling and can tell us who the wrestlers were with Dutch, we would love to know.
Wait, this was Puerto Rico? Don't say that. This poor bastard, he needs Paco and Julio to help him out here.
I don't think he's still there in 2025.
Do we know that as a fact? I mean, I don't. Like, Dutch does his podcast, to the best of my knowledge, still every week. I don't know where he is when he does the podcast.
Well, why the fuck would be in Puerto Rico?
So I'm enjoying this well done gimmick where every week they're trying to cut a promo and they're like, well, you're not scheduled, so I'm sorry, but we're going to throw it to a video instead.
Yeah, so I can see, just looking at my media server, it'll have, a little screen cap from somewhere in the episode, and I can see that Well Done wrestle next week, and I really hope that they have their match and then go try to talk to Bob and immediately get cut off again.
See, I'm hoping like they try to have their match and like in the middle of the match, they're like, oh, we're out of time for these guys. Let's go to the commercial. And we go to like Brian Matthews interviewing, I don't know, Tim Horner about the upcoming house show loop. Not because I want to hear a Tim Horner promo, just that would be funny that we're taking away from Well Done to listen to the most boring man on television cut a promo.
Well,
so it's funny because like we never see Dutch in a t-shirt. Like he's always at least wearing something where he's wearing like poncho or whatever. I'm like, man, he's got a bit of a gut, doesn't he?
Not talking about anybody else's gut.
I know I should not point that out, but yeah. But yeah, the end of Dutch, technically the final Down and Dirty with Dutch. He is Dutch Mantel and we are not.
We sure aren't.
All right, so let's now go to Bullet Bob Armstrong, who's got a big announcement here coming up for the next big show here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Boy, does he.
Fans, at the beginning of the program, we told you this man right here, Commissioner Bob Armstrong, had a very special announcement during this hour. Commissioner?
That's exactly right, and I've had 1,000 phone calls about the Volunteer Slam this year, and I'm here to announce that it'll be held on May the 20th in Knoxville.
Oh, tremendous.
Right, and we've talked to a major wrestling star who's coming in to try to take Dirty White Boy's title. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag and give you his name, but everybody will know him, and when we finalize this contract, I'll be talking more to you about it. That's on May the 20th. Now, on a personal note, James Cornette has had me barred from wrestling.
Yep.
And I'll tell you this, my heart's in the ring right there, and there's nothing I'd like better than to get back in the ring with Bruiser Bedlam and be a little more ready for him this time. He says he can whip anybody. Obviously, he hadn't been to the Smoky Mountain area very long. He don't realize that Smoky Mountain men don't lay down and roll over and play dead. Well, I'm going to tell you this. On May the 20th, since Jim Cornette has brought in all his friends, all he has to do is call his mama, come up with a big check, and bring in a major wrestling star anytime he wants to. Well, I've got friends too, brother, and they're not jerks like you are. And on May the 20th, I got a special friend coming in to take care of Bruiser Bedlam, and I'm going to be in his corner. And I'll tell you who that man is. He's none other than the Macho Man himself, Randy Savage. And you know, Bob, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So if we'll just take a look right now, I'll show you what the Macho Man is all about.
All right.
All right. So the big news, Trae, Volunteer Slam is May 20th in Knoxville.
How about that?
I know. And, you know, although I did have to laugh because Volunteer Slam is a Knoxville tradition. So it's kind of like saying the January 4th Wrestle Kingdom show is going to be in Tokyo Dome. But either way, the third Volunteer Slam, we're going to the fucking Macho Man Randy Savage. And I knew Macho Man comes in to wrestle Bruiser Bedlam. And I guess I thought it was later, but it also makes sense because if they wait much longer, Savage is in WCW.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's not till the end of the year, but I don't know how long Bruiser Bedlam sticks around because I feel like he's not here very long, but I couldn't tell you when he actually leaves.
And I'm sure they had a fun match, but I looked just to see, and Savage actually stayed the whole weekend. He worked 3 shows, and on the 21st in Morristown, God, I wish this was on tape. Randy Savage and the Rock and Roll Express against Brian Lee, Chris Candido, and Bruiser Bedlam.
That does sound like a tremendous match. And I mean, hey, I bet it is on tape somewhere because they used to tape all the house shows, but it's not. It's probably not readily available.
WWE Vault, you know what to do.
And by the way, Bruiser Bedlam's actually here till the end of the year, so shows you what I know. All right. So they announced that Randy Savage is coming to the Volunteer Slam, and they proceed to show the video. And Trae somehow had never seen this, and I guess unless you're like a WWF completist, why would you go back to watch this era of the WWF? But like they air the Randy Savage video from the WrestleMania the album thing because they did like everyone knows the WrestleMania song, but they did the whole album full of music videos, including the Tatanka video and all that. And one of them was this Randy Savage music video, and I guess Cornette didn't have to put together a new music video, but it was just. I'll let you explain it because you've never seen this before.
It just, I don't know. It was a full-on WWF video package, so you're not going to change that. It just I don't know. I guess I never listened to the whole album, and I'm just like, what is it? And I kind of listened to it, and it's just this ridiculous, sappy, goofy song that's like got this woman on vocals. Then it has Savage doing little interludes, and it's just. It's fucking tremendous. It was ridiculous.
Ooh, the moon and the stars, yeah. Oh Lord. And that's the famous album that is produced by Simon Cowell. And every so often, and this lets you know that wrestling fans aren't just jaded about other wrestling companies, because Simon Cowell did WrestleMania the album. He by default is not allowed to judge people on American Idol because he produced something that bad. It's like you realize that the guy had a job to do and he did his job and collected his paycheck.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
By the way, if you had bet me $1,000 over whether or not this video ever aired on Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I would owe you $1,000 right now.
I would not have guessed.
Well, especially because you didn't know this video was a thing. I at least knew it was a thing.
That's true.
But let's go back now, because after the video, Bullet Bob has more to say, and he's going to be joined at the commentary desk.
All this is finally, Macho Man's going to have a manager, me. And James E. Cornette, every time he tries any of the funny stuff, I'll be there. So if he sticks his nose in, I can bite it right off. Macho Man's going to take care of that Bruiser Bedlam because he knows how to get the job done.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Here's Cornette and
What are you
Bruiser
trying to
Bedlam.
pull, Armstrong, huh? What are you trying to pull? You've got no business bringing Randy Savage into Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You've got no business bringing somebody like that in to get in a ring with the Bruiser. What are you trying to pull anyway?
Let me just say this. On May the 20th, we'll find out who really is the Macho Man. Oh, yeah!
He's going to tear his head off. Randy Savage or nobody else can stand up to Bruiser Bedlam. He'll tear his stinking head off. That's a promise. Let's get out of here, Bruiser.
All right, fans, we're going to be back. Don't go away. We got more action coming your way right after this.
I don't know why, other than the fact that like it's the same type of hat. But when Bruiser Bedlam comes out in his little derby, all I can see is Big Bully Busick.
Yeah.
Do you remember Big Bully Busick?
Yes, I'm not sure why, but I remember the name.
Oh, like he was in the WWF for like 5 minutes. He was supposed to do Survivor Series and quit / was fired / whatever, and I think he got replaced by Hercules. Just tells you how low on the card Hercules was when he is the replacement for Big Bully Busick on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So Bullet Bob is going to be the manager of the Macho Man Randy Savage. Now I wonder because, hey, Savage, his managers in the past have been Miss Elizabeth and Sensational Sherry, and they always dressed very color coordinated. Do you think Bullet Bob is going to come out in a color coordinated outfit with Randy Savage at the Volunteer Slam?
I hope so.
So do I. I mean, like, if he doesn't, they missed out big time on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cornette, as I wrote, Cornette threw quite the tantrum. And because they're not baby faces, they're allowed to make promises you can't keep, like how he promised that Bruiser Bedlam will rip Randy Savage's head off. I do have a spoiler alert, and I'm sorry to have, led anyone down the primrose path here, but Bruiser Bedlam will not literally rip Randy Savage's head off at the Volunteer Slam.
Well, I'm not even going to bother when we get the time machine then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Or maybe you should, so you can go to the crowd and taunt Bruiser Bedlam into trying to rip off Randy Savage's head.
Oh, I could create a new timeline.
Yeah. Okay, think about how wrestling would change if Randy Savage died on May 20th, 1994, instead of, oh my God, did he die May 20th, like 2011 or 2012, whatever year it was? I know it was like sometime in May.
It was about that.
Yeah.
Well, had the Stephanie McMahon thing happened yet?
Yeah. If you believe it to have actually happened, yes, because it would have happened like in like 1990, because like whatchamacallit. By the way, May 20th, 2011 was when Savage died. So like
how about that?
Stephanie McMahon, like, wasn't she supposed to be like 16 when Savage allegedly
underage?
Yeah. Okay, so she was born in 76, so between 90 and 92, this theoretically would have happened. Because right now, well, I guess she's 17 now, but the story, at least the most recent version of the story I heard, was that it happened, and then Stephanie kept it to herself until like I think it was like 1996. Do you remember a period in WCW when Savage was quote unquote blacklisted or on suspension, and he wasn't on the show for like 3 months?
Yeah.
Allegedly, he was in negotiation with Vince to come back, and Stephanie found out, and that's when she told Vince what happened. And again, sprinkle a whole bunch of allegedlys in here because I wasn't there. I did not watch Randy Savage have sex with Stephanie McMahon if it happened. So throw in a few allegedlys in here, but that's the story that, she told Vince in late 96, early 97, and that's why Savage went back to WCW instead of possibly going back to the WWF.
Okay, now again, I don't know anything other than the stories, but when you lay it out for me like that, I I'm not saying that it did or didn't happen. I'm not saying that Stephanie didn't tell Vince. I just don't believe that Vince would have really given a shit.
I don't know. I think he would have given a shit, especially if you
I don't
consider
know. Yeah,
Stephanie would have been between 14 and 16 years old at the time. I think he definitely would have given a shit.
I don't think he would have. Or I don't know.
I don't know. But I'll tell you what, Stephanie, if you want me to actually listen to your podcast, other than that time at when I was at Access and my feet were tired and I needed to sit down, and you were interviewing the guy from um the company that handles all the WWE's merchandise, Fanatics. She
Yeah.
interviewed the guy from Fanatics, and I needed to rest my feet, so I sat down and watched. By the way, her co-host is the most useless co-host in the history of podcasting. I don't think she said 10 fucking words. Um, but anyway, one podcast ripping on another. We're declaring war on What's Your Story or whatever the hell the name of that show is. Um,
I guess you would
so
be
up
the
next,
expert on useless podcast hosts or co-hosts.
what are you trying to say about yourself, Trey? Hey, what have I
Uh,
told you?
I'm
What have I told
awful.
you about saying mean things about my friend Trey?
Fuck that guy.
Well, up next we had Bruiser Bedlam with Jim Cornette versus Bobby Blaze for the TV title. Bedlam missed a top rope drop kick of all things, and Bobby Blaze used Jushin Liger's rolling capo kick of all things. He went for a Molly go round of all things, but Bedlam caught him, dropped him, and submitted him with a stomach claw. And let it be known, this is the only match review to ever compare Bobby Blaze to both Jushin Liger and Molly Holly. Um, and then
Yeah.
because Bruiser Bedlam will apparently never break the stomach claw on his own, Tracy Smothers had to run in for the save.
Yeah, I think we speculated before that Bobby Blaze probably learned the rolling Kapu kick when he saw Liger at the tournament to crown the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Exactly. You know, and too bad our illustrious double champion no longer comes out with his championship cummerbunds anymore.
Right, I know.
Yeah. Um, and hey, Molly Holly was not wrestling at this point. Where did he learn the Molly go round from?
Uh, I don't know.
Remember that
So I,
stupid, remember that stupid angle where Molly Holly had a big ass?
dude, that fucking company is like the women that they tried to say were unattractive, fucking Molly Holly and Mickey James, who were both like incredibly beautiful women. What the fuck? That's just stupid.
Like Molly Holly, after my heart. I've had a crush on her for the longest time,
Oh, me
you know.
too.
Yeah. Um, and it's funny because like they always said, "Oh, she's got a big ass," and I'm like, anytime she'd be in there, I'd be like, and obviously like you're a kid, so like you think if you move your head around enough, you can see something that's not being aired on TV, and I'm like, where does she have a big ass? It looks like she has a normal sized ass for her body.
Well,
Uh,
and the stupidest thing was like that was toward the end of the big asses being undesirable. Like now it's like yeah, that's fucking the point.
I'm just like even if she had a big ass, even if she did, like especially nowadays, like I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Naomi is your most well endowed person, perhaps in WWE history, on that side of things. Um, there was a picture of her. I don't know if it was like for a WWE like fitness video or something, but there was a picture of Naomi doing push-ups and like Jesus Christ, it looked like she was shoving a pillow down the back of her leggings.
Oh, by the way,
Nothing but love, Naomi.
my
I'm not saying anything that you probably don't already know.
my friend Raul likes to point out that the song "Fat Bottom Girls" is just maybe got back for white guys.
Well, before we get ourselves into more trouble, let's go to a Jim Cornette promo with Bruiser Bedlam, and they got a problem with Tracy Smothers.
Winner, and right now, Bob Cottle is going to talk with...
This is it! This is it! I've had enough! I've had enough of this stinking interference around Smoky Mountain Wrestling! I've had enough of everybody banding together! It's Bob Armstrong, the Rock and Roll Express, Smothers! They all band together, first against the Heavenly Bodies, now against Bruiser Bedlam! They can't fight one-on-one! Everybody's got to take sides!
All right, here comes Tracy Smothers now. Tracy?
Ain't nobody banding together, Cornette. I'm standing out here all by my lonesome, man. There ain't no frog in my pocket. You see that right now. I'll say this, you outdid yourself. Your man right here has done a lot of damage. Bruiser Bedlam, yeah. Who is this hillbilly punk? My name's Tracy Smothers. I'm the wild-eyed southern boy, big man. Get used to it. Hey, this ain't the docks of Detroit, and this ain't the streets. This is Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and this is the South, and by God, I represent it. Hey. It's a big bad man. Why don't you put that TV title up next week against me, man? Bring that stuff to me. You're not the only one who has to fight.
You want to get in the ring with the Bruiser? You want to come to my nightmare, brother? You got it. You got it. Next week, we'll do it in the ring, and he'll tear your stinking head off. What are you, a scab? He's a scab, Bruiser.
Yeah, will you, hillbilly scab?
Yeah.
I'll bust you in half, you punk.
You're a scab.
I'll show you. You ain't nothing, punk.
Standing here.
Next week, Smothers. Next week, Smothers. Hey. Wait a minute. Come on. Let's get out of here, Bruiser. Next week, Smothers. You got it.
Hold your head, punk.
You got it.
I'll punch a hole in your punk. And you know I won't either. I'll back you up, too.
Ooh,
You
Tracy.
got it next week, boy.
Tracy, they said next week. Next week you got it right here.
You got it. Next week, the South is going to rise again. Cornette and Bruiser.
All right, fans. We'll be back right after this.
So ignoring the fact that we're going to set up what I think is what sounds like a promising match for next week. That sounds like a hell of a little bout. Did I miss where they did the drawing?
That was the same problem that I had. It has never, to my knowledge, been established that you could just book yourself in a TV title match without your name being drawn out of the hat.
It has never happened on the show yet. I mean, it didn't happen, but I mean, the closest we got to booking a TV title match in advance was when Bobby Eaton was the TV champion, and they pulled Tom Pritchard's name out at the end of the week before show.
Yeah, and that was
But
the
even
only
then,
week that they did that.
Yeah, and remember, like, wasn't the thing like Bobby Eaton announced that he's demanding that they pull the name of his challenger a week ahead of time from now on? Yeah, that only lasted 1 week. Anywho, so honestly, because I was sitting here like, man, what does Tracy do next? And because the Candido feud is over, and I'm like, this could be something. Him and Bruiser Bedlam in a little bit of a program. I hope it's not just a one-off TV program.
I assume that this is the house show program except for the weekend that Macho was in.
Yeah. I will say I don't want to say I'm worried, but it's like ever since Tracy got pulled out of the Smoky Mountain title picture, it really feels like he's floundering. And I think part of the issue is they don't have any other top heels for him to be feuding with. So if he's not the champion, what's he gonna do? And thankfully they didn't put him in a program with fucking Prince Karras or something. But, it's like now he's just floating in between, everything. And like I said, he never gets the title back. And it's funny because he's essentially the Hulk Hogan of the company, and Hulk Hogan would not have gone 3 years without winning the title.
That's true.
So I did like that Tracy, he's introducing himself to Bruiser Bedlam. Not only does he say that he's Tracy Smothers, he has to point out, I'm the wild-eyed Southern boy. Like, okay, did you have to tell him your nickname? And then he had issues taking off his shirt.
We know that Johnny Bedlam's nickname is Bruiser.
That is true. but hopefully at no point will we see an angered, fired up Bruiser Bedlam promo where he introduces himself to somebody. I'm Johnny Bedlam, and they call me Bruiser. While he's standing 3 feet away from somebody who wants to kick his ass.
Yeah.
So up next, we're supposed to get personality profile, but first we get a replay of last week's match between Primetime Brian Lee and Ricky Morton. And then we go to the ring with Les and our Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, The Rock and his partner, Roll Express.
Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express. And guys, we've seen the tape. They wanted you in a single match. They got you in a single match. Then they tried to make it a team. And so now we're ready to roll with that.
Well, you see, Les, there's nothing in this world I could do about Brian Lee and Chris Candido jumping on the Rock and Roll Express. But they found out there's a lot we could do to get them off. You see, Brian Lee, you can come out here and tell the whole world how big and bad you are. But one thing about it is, you know, some things that make a sparrow fly can make an eagle fall. And that's just what the Rock and Roll Express is all about. We don't care about your big reputation. We don't care about your Tammy Fitch out on the floor. We've been through it all with Jimmy Cornette for the last 10 years. And you see the heavenly bodies are not around here. So it looks like we have to do the same thing to you two guys. But one thing about it is, Tammy Fitch, we're going to have to prove to you what a real man is all about, and Rock and Roll's been known to do that a bunch of times.
They're more
than one way.
They're worried about somebody kissing Tammy, but they better be worried about Ricky and Robert when it comes 2-on-2 in a tag match.
Well, that's right, because you see, we are the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. And one thing about Robert and myself, we don't put these belts up on the shelf and let them collect dust. We will defend them right here at Smoky Mountain Wrestling every night. And that goes right along with you, Brian Lee and Chris Candido. You see, brother, you can jump us from behind, you can do everything you want to. But you see, Rock and Roll, we're here to stay. We're not here to play. Thank you.
Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express.
Rock and Roll will never die, Lance.
All right, Robert. And that is our personality profile for today.
Too bad they didn't do a well done. We got to go to commercial before we hear Robert Gibson speak part here. Poor Les was like, oh, okay, Robert, thank you for chiming in. So just to reiterate, there are some things that make a squirrel fly that make an eagle fall.
He was really proud of that line, wasn't he?
I say, Trey, you're our resident Southerner. What the hell did that mean?
Fuck if I know. Birds are gonna fly, and you can shoot them out of the air with a BB gun or like a 22, or if a big bird like a shotgun. I don't know.
Okay, great. They talk more about sexually assaulting Tammy, and they want to defend their belts every night. And then Trey, I bet, popped because for feels like the first time in months, Ricky Morton informed us that Rock and Roll is here to stay. They ain't here to play.
I was starting to worry.
Trey was worried that they were only here to play.
I know. You can't worry me like that, guys. I gotta know.
Huh? Thankfully, they let you know. Tell me,
Appreciate that.
baby girl, 'cause I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Tell me, baby girl, 'cause I need to know. And that was Arya's karaoke for the day. So, in The Observer, by the way, Dave talks about, and actually Cornette talked about this on one of the videos I recently watched of his. After the Heavenly Bodies Rock and Roll Express match that we just had a few weeks ago at Bluegrass Brawl, apparently the attendance for Smoky Mountain shows is dipping quite a bit right now. And they're worried that they don't know what to do. They're not sure what to do right now and are considering doing a little bit of hot shotting to get the attendance back up there.
I wouldn't want to go to the shows anymore either if I knew Jimmy Del Rey wasn't going to be there.
Yep. No poon salt equals no ticket sold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, remember last week when we had 3/4 of an ECW pre-union match? Well, this week we got a whole 4/4 of an ECW pre-union match. Technically, we got 5/5. Hell, 6/6 if you include the referee. We had Primetime Brian Lee and Chris Candido with Tammy Fitch versus Anthony Michaels and Chris Hamrick. And Brian Hildebrand was the referee, and he had one shot in ECW. There was a match with Cactus Jack and Shane Douglas, and they brought in Brian Hildebrand to be the referee in like late '95.
I do not know that, but that's great.
Yeah. So everyone in the ring for this match was at some point in ECW. Anthony Michaels was, I think he was Snot Dudley.
Yeah.
And we mentioned Chris Hamrick last week. Chris Candido joined the announce desk, and basically Primetime Brian Lee had a 2-on-1 handicap match, which it went a little too long in my opinion, but it was still, tremendous thanks to Candido on commentary. And Brian Lee eventually won with a top rope knee drop, which was a big win for Chris Candido, I thought.
I love this team.
I gotta say, it's like I don't know if it's a main event type act, but I'm loving this team. And to me, again, like I said last week, it feels like they're setting up a babyface turn for Brian Lee when Candido and Tammy basically turn on him for being a big dummy, but that never happens.
Yeah, that probably would have been good.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a fun little match. This is a fun little team. And let's now go to the post-match promo. Chris Candido really, put in his best effort here for this match here. And we're getting a promo with all three of them.
Well, again, you left him up there to do it all by himself.
No, Brian, I just want to tell you, I knew you could take care of those guys by yourself. That's why I was out here with Bob the whole time, and I was telling him and everybody out there about all the new moves you've been teaching me, how you've had me training. Hold on.
No, you hold on. Step back, little man. I don't mean to call you little man, but you know what I'm saying. You're my partner. All you got to do is stand back, keep your ears open, your eyes open, get your pen and pad, and Primetime will lead you down that golden path, baby. I'll tell you what, Chris Candido and Primetime Brian Lee, we can't be stopped. Tammy Fitch is our brains, Bob Caudle, we're going all the way to the top, tag team champion.
Rock and Roll Express, I want to tell you something, and you listen good. The team of Brian Lee and Chris Candido are coming at you strong, and they're not going to stop until they have the belts. So guys, you better take a picture of those pretty belts around your waist, because you're not going to have them for long. And then when they're through with you, the only thing you'll be kissing is their fists and the bottom of their souls. Let's go, guys.
Ooh, fans, there it is from Miss Tammy Fitch, Primetime Brian Lee, Chris Candido. Don't go away. We'll be back with more right after we take.
So do you think if Primetime Brian Lee gave Ricky Morton a fat lip, he would still want to kiss Tammy Fitch?
I don't know, but he should try that. That's the only language that these predators understand.
I'm happy Ricky Morton does not listen to this show. I don't know why he wouldn't, of course, because I mean this is a tremendous show for everyone to listen to. But we want to stay on the good side of the Rock and Roll Express.
Hoot definitely listens.
Yes, I'm sure of it, no doubt. So basically, they're planning on winning the tag team titles. Brian Lee tells Chris Candido, eyes open, ears open, mouth shut. And Candido, behind Brian Lee's back, is doing the cuckoo thing with his hand by his ear. And it's just great. I'm loving this team.
Yeah, it is great. And I'm seeing, like, there's a number of times that I've seen that you could do the storyline well, and then nobody has ever done it well. Not the team, but like there's potential, like you keep saying, there is potential for a great Brian Lee babyface turn in this, and I don't think they do it.
For whatever reason, I mean, it could, it could be that like they were going to, but then he just left the territory. But he's here till I think November or December, so it's not, he's leaving tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
So did you see what Jim Cornette said about Mercedes Moné?
Oh dear. No, I didn't.
So I believe this was just taken from his podcast, that he didn't like do an interview anywhere or anything. But according to and I'm reading this from the takedown on SI.com, and I've seen other people post something similar, so I don't doubt that this is actually a verbatim quote that Cornette said. So Cornette said about Mercedes Moné, she's a rotten actress. She's physically unimpressive. She's bled to me in the ring because she misses as much as she hits, or she's trying to hold her wig on top. And but she loves what she's doing. We can't deny that. She's just not really very good at any of the parts of it. And did I mention those rotten promos? But she's got dedication. All right.
Cornette still thinks that like women's wrestling is like the equivalent of midget wrestling, so who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Well, the point of this is because I wanted to say that and bring that up to segue into our main event, which is the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion, Dirty White Boy, versus Prince Karras with Daryl Van Horn. Now, I get that, the Money Man wanted Cornette to have a mummy on his show. Did the Money Man also tell him which pro wrestler to go out and dress up like a mummy? Did Cornette have to get like the shittiest wrestler he could find and make him a mummy?
They just needed somebody tall, I guess.
You obviously didn't want like Chris Candido, but like you didn't have to have somebody who was 6'8", 6'9". Like I'm
Honestly,
fairly certain.
Fucking look at what they've done with Horner. Why didn't you just wrap up Brian Lee? At least he's not gonna fucking stumble around and make an idiot of himself.
Oh, well, I guess he couldn't wrap up Horner since the whole point was he took Horner out and he wanted, and he wanted Horner off the TV, which is kind of funny.
I was talking about how someone Tim Horner shaped came wrapped up in a silly get up after this match.
Yeah. Like Ron Harris, Don Harris. I'm not saying that they were like the greatest wrestlers of all time, but I'd rather be watching Ron Harris dressed like a mummy than this guy.
I would rather watch either Harris brawl with the Dirty White Boy than watch Prince Karras.
Yeah. Anyway, I mentioned this because the opening move of the match, and I guess this was meant to be this, but Prince Karras missed a walking forearm. I don't know how better way to describe the move that he went for than a walking forearm.
I think that's a fair assessment.
And by the way, again, it's not just that Cornette booked Prince Karras. He put Karras on TV and is now putting him in a title match. They could have Andre'd him. The only way to see Prince Karras wrestle is to go to the live shows. I mean, then you're pissing off your live audience, but at least then you're not exposing him on your television.
I think that he had given this up as a bad job and was trying to at least get something out of Prince Karras by having him lose the champ.
Well, Prince Karras scaled to the middle rope. Apparently, this is the week for people randomly coming off the ropes. And he went for what I thought was a diving headbutt, but I think they announced it as he was going for the diving forearm with his loaded forearm gimmick. And then the finish saw Daryl Van Horn distract everyone. Prince Karras went for the forearm, but somehow White Boy caught the forearm and hit Prince Karras with the forearm. Yes, White Boy hit Prince Karras with his own forearm for the win. And all I could write and all I could think of was, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? White Boy was Prince Karras' older brother here.
Was I too generous? I went half a star for this.
I don't even know. If I were to sit and think and actually rate it, maybe half a star. I try not to go into the negative star just because it's too much of a slippery slope where it's like, how do you say something is -2 1/4 stars? It's like,
Okay,
okay.
I may be wrong, but I don't think Dave ever did halves or quarters for the negatives, only whole stars.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. And again, I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be confusing him and Brian because, Brian was a lot more loose with his star ratings than anybody else. But,
Yeah.
um, so after winning with the "Why are you hitting yourself," outran Tim Horner, who sprayed palm olive in Dirty White Boy's face, and this led to a 2-on-1 on the White Boy. Now, it's Tim Horner, but it's not Tim Horner, because it was Kendo the Samurai. I I have to laugh because I just was re-listening to the burying Tim Horner video, but actually I was listening to the Smoky Mountain Fan Week version of the burying Tim Horner video, and he's basically talking about how Horner went through all these jobs when he took him out of the ring, and Cornette basically had no choice but to put him back in the ring to try to, make him earn his money, and it's like the first time I saw it in my head, it was like a year had passed before it's like, okay, Tim Warner's not doing anything. We need to put him back in the ring because he's not doing anything for business. It's barely been 4 months.
Yeah. By the way, whoever decided to put the Smoky Mountain Wrestling School Chiron up as the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion was selling for a fucking mummy, you're a funny motherfucker.
I guess it makes sense. It's Horner was the trainee or the trainer. I always want to know because Cornette refuses to name the two people that Horner trained. I'm like, man, I wish we could know who was trained by Horner. And I guess it tells you you don't, sometimes great wrestlers don't make great trainers. And I'm not saying Horner was a great wrestler, but he was a very good wrestler. I would think that if I was to choose somebody from Smoky Mountain Wrestling to be the head trainer of a Smoky Mountain Wrestling school, I'd say Tim Horner would be one of the better choices. But apparently he was not a very good trainer.
Okay, we have not been told this, but surely one would assume, based on the timing and everything, that he trained Glove, right? You would have to assume.
I mean, I would assume that he trained Glove at least to some degree. He put Glove on a little bit of a fast forwarded training, and we saw the results there.
He was right out of the business.
Glove was not the poster child for the Smoky Mountain Training School. We'll say that.
What was he not? Because I haven't seen another option for the poster child.
Well, for all we know, someone who was better than Glove. So the Rock and Roll Express made the save. And speaking of Glove, after commercial, we're still seeing the Rock and Roll Express cleaning the palm olive out of White Boy's face, and Glove ran in to help out as well.
Yeah, Tracy Smothers and Glove came out to be baby faces.
I do think, I don't know, does White Boy start feuding with Kendo? Because I know, we didn't mention this earlier, but Bob Armstrong mentioned he's bringing in a big star to feud with White Boy over the Smoky Mountain title. And spoiler alert, it's not Tim Horner. But it's does he? Maybe he has a TV feud with Kendo. Because, we're still not that. Kendo was not here for very long. Horner's wife is about to yell at Jim Cornette.
The person coming in to wrestle White Boy is barely there too.
Oh, that's true. Because OJ is about to kill his wife. And
cost Cornette a house in Knoxville.
I guess I've got to re-listen to that video where he talks about that because it's were they really doing that good of a walk-up? I guess this is 1994. They didn't you didn't sell all your tickets in advance like they do now, but it's I don't know. So Kendo the Samurai pretty much, he almost exclusively wrestles White Boy moving forward. Almost exclusively. He does have a couple TV matches with Dirty White Boy people, and he has a couple house show matches with Tracy Smothers, including the Volunteer Slam. But it's like I went and looked, and it's like he wrestles Dirty White Boy like 40 times between now and the end of July. He wrestles Lance at one point at the East High School in Morristown, Tennessee, and he loses. I wonder if that got stuck in his craw.
That's tremendous.
Yep. All right. So let's go to a quick show closing promo with Daryl Van Horn, who is voicing over Dirty White Boy getting Palmolive wiped out of his face.
Hey, that's a
Dirty White Boy! Do you see exactly what happened? I told you if you screwed with the Van Horn organization, you would pay a serious price. Dirty White Boy, I should be upset over the fact that you pulled off some bit of chicanery and got through Prince Karras. But Kendo the Samurai is the man you have to worry about now. Your days in Smoky Mountain as a champion are through. Kendo the Samurai is a renaissance man. He is the beginning of the end for you. You can't see anymore, Dirty White Boy. Yeah, Ricky Morton, get out there. He's blind just like your old man. Everybody, you've seen it.
All right, fans, there you see.
It was a mean thing to say about poor Ricky Morton.
Well,
now
your father is
here's a
blind.
question.
Is that a mean thing to say when his father is blind?
Yeah, but like the way he said it, it was like, he'll be blind like your father, Ricky Morton. It's like, I can point. Like, if I sat here and pointed out that your wife is blind, it's like, I'm not being mean. I'm just pointing out a fact. If I sat here and said, Trae, you're going to be blind like your wife, you're going to like, really, motherfucker?
That's not even in the top 20 most offensive things that Daryl Van Horn has said on the show.
No. And it turns out that, like, I guess somebody in Knoxville's figured out what the hell Daryl Van Horn has been saying, because I guess they've been putting up a disclaimer before the show that when it airs in Knoxville that the views expressed are by the sponsor of this program and not this network.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you sounded very amused by it.
Very.
So do you think, like, let's say Horner wasn't a dick and his wife didn't yell at Cornette, do you think there's a story to where you eventually reveal that that Kendo the Samurai is Tim Horner, and you can work a story that, like, after what happened with Prince Karras, all of his friends abandoned him. No one ever called him anymore. No one ever wanted to hang out because Horner was hurt and couldn't come to the wrestling shows anymore, and so he had to turn to Daryl Van Horn and embrace the dark lifestyle.
That's not bad. As far as probably better than whatever we're gonna fucking see.
Yeah. And I don't know how long Daryl Van Horn lasts, because I'm pretty sure he's gone pretty soon too.
Yeah. Can't imagine that he's happy.
But and this is just me being an ultimate nitpicky douchebag. Why was Tracy Smothers in his gear this week?
In case he got his name drawn for the Beat the Champ.
That makes more sense. That's the most sense I've ever heard of anything. And see, I thought you were going to point out that it has been established on this show that these shows are taped in advance and they do a bulk taping. So Tracy Smothers is dressed to wrestle in another taping. Now, keeping that in mind, Glub, who just wrestled an hour ago, was out here in a sweatshirt and jeans. He didn't come running out in his gear. So that was going to be my rebuttal to you saying that. But okay, you officially came up with a very good reason as to why Tracy Smothers, who did not have a match on this show, is in his gear.
And Tracy Smothers is a more prepared professional than Glub.
That's true. That is true. So 117 down, 83 to go. Thanksgiving 1995 is getting here way too quickly.
Yeah.
If I recall, because I saw episode 200, episode 200 is actually a pretty good show in the middle of like a really shitty string of television. Like those, like the last 10 or 12 episodes after they get done airing the Super Bowl, we're going to be begging to watch, Vince Russo era Nitro. Maybe not that bad, but the show goes off a cliff quickly.
That's train wreck quality, at least.
We'll see when Tommy Rich and Bull Buchanan are top heels in the company. We'll see how you feel then.
Okay.
So what else is happening in the world of wrestling? And to be honest, it's kind of a light week. Well, kind of a light week. The main story is that the WWF is holding their WrestleMania Revenge House Show Tour, which is essentially just some loaded up A-level house shows with higher ticket prices. And they are selling quite well. The tickets are moving more than, the regular house shows have been. And it's been an overall successful tour for the WWF. However, not everything is coming up roses for our friends up north because Mr. Perfect quit the promotion before a series of house shows with Lex Luger, and the WWF responded by burying him on Raw, saying that he quit due to being afraid of Lex Luger. Plus, both Luna Vachon and the Steiner brothers have left the company. Luna, I think she just quit, and the Steiner brothers, I'm sorry, I think Luna just got fired, and the Steiner brothers quit because the money that they're making is not what they were expecting. However, even though they quit, they do have to sit out their contract, which doesn't expire until December. And it's funny because we remember they left WCW for the exact same reasons. Bill Watts, in cost-cutting mode, was offering them a very lowball deal, and they quit. And then, at least Vince was smart enough not to put like the Intercontinental title on Scott Steiner, like Watts put the TV title on him, thinking that his ego will lead to him staying in the company. Didn't work out.
No, didn't.
And actually, I think either Scott or Rick, I'm pretty sure it's Scott, lost the King of the Ring qualifying match to IRS, which, I get Mike Rotunda is a great wrestler, yada, yada, yada. But like you wouldn't think, okay, Scott Steiner is going to do a job to IRS on television.
No.
And then because again we got to bury the WWF every chance we get, the third major news story this week is Chuck Austin, the WWF jobber who got paralyzed in the match with Marty Jannetty in 1990. His trial for his lawsuit against the WWF and Marty Jannetty started this week. And famously, and I'm pretty sure this was on a Dark Side of the Ring. I don't remember if they did a Marty Jannetty Dark Side, but I just remember
yes,
this
they did
on a Dark Side. Okay, yeah, because I saw they gave Chuck Austin the rocker dropper, and then either Sean or Marty pulled him like towards the corner. And yeah, I do question though, like, how do you sue the WWF? Like, I get suing Marty Jannetty, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of money out of it, even if you win. But it's like, it's not the WWF's fault that Marty Jannetty injured a wrestler.
Arya,
You know what
when
I
you
mean?
sue somebody, you sue everybody involved to try to get the deepest pockets. That's basic.
I know, but I know, and I know that that's what happens, and it's the accepted practice. But it just feels like that's not right. You know?
Well, that's getting at a way deeper symptom than just whose fault it was. Chad Austin got hurt.
Well, it's Marty Jannetty's fault. And I mean,
You ain't gonna get no money from Marty Jannetty.
It's Marty's fault that, the move was done and to somebody who may not have been experienced enough to take it. Chad Austin took the move really weird, but it's like, I'm sorry, like, for one time, I'm not going to blame Vince McMahon for something. It was not his fault that Chuck Austin got paralyzed. But
Yeah.
anywho,
Anywho.
let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any news. There really isn't anything new out. I guess, did you see Jake Hager's interview with Chris Van Vliet?
I heard enough.
Well, he talked about how after everything with Punk went down, there was a wrestlers only meeting, and he says that somebody refused to come to work, and he thought it was FTR, and so Cash basically called him out on Twitter and um, was like, and he DM'd Jake, and he was like, "Dude, what the fuck? We didn't refuse to come to work." And it's like, "Well, I said I thought." I wasn't sure, but I thought it might have been you. And he's like, dude, well, when you say that, people are going to automatically assume that it's us. And ultimately, like, I've never, like, there's been a lot of, especially these former WWE guys that came in that was like, you hear stories about, them not being happy and wanting to leave or whatever. And even though FTR did have like that weird period where they just weren't on TV at all for what felt like 6 months, there's never been a story that they were, trying to get out of their deal early or anything like that. So who knows who Jake Hager was actually thinking of, but it was not fuck the revival.
Uh, didn't he called Tony Khan, who was a billionaire and the head of like huge major sports franchises, a communist? And that's enough to tell you that he's a fucking moron.
Honestly, it's like, and I feel for him. Like, I get he came in with a big, not so much a big push, but a big spot in the company. And so he felt insulted when they renewed his deal for 18 months instead of 3 years or whatever. But it's like, dude, like, I'm sorry, but move on with your fucking life, dude.
I would just be happy that somebody gave me money for several years that I didn't really deserve.
I mean, to be honest, how much did he really wrestle, especially like afterwards? Like, and it's not like he's one of those guys who just went home and did nothing. Like, he was there most weeks. He was usually, though, in the background, like with the Jericho Appreciation Society or the Inner Circle.
Hat.
He had his fucking hat. And it's funny because, like, I think, and I left the page, so I'm not going to go back. I think I read him say that he liked a lot of the stuff that he did. So, okay, well, Tony Khan must have been too much of a communist and too much of an asshole if, even though you weren't a fan of your contract negotiations, you tended to like the stuff he did more than he didn't.
Well, I'm sure that Chris Van Vliet is still eagerly awaiting approval so he can go into the prison and interview Rock and Roll Bug Zumhoff.
Chris Van Vliet interviews everybody, so if you told me that he is going to interview Rock and Roll Buck Zumhoff, I'd believe you.
Well, there was that time that he was like Velveteen Dream, and then like it was multiple other people in like a short stint that were just really scummy people that he was interviewing.
I don't know. I like. It's easy for me to sit here and say that if Velveteen Dream reached out and said he wanted to be on our podcast, I'd tell him to go fuck off. But part of me is like, I'd probably book him.
If you have Velveteen Dream on the podcast, I quit.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm sorry, Velveteen Dream. I know you're listening. I know you probably want to be on the show, but I love Trae. Trae is our A co-host. I can't let him quit.
I'm the A
sure
co-host,
I'm sure you understand.
Canadian.
Well,
The A.
we both tend to enjoy our Canadian television shows, so I think that yes. Yeah, I introduced you to Corner Gas. Actually, no, I didn't. You already saw the show, but I feel like I introduced you to something, and you introduced me to Letterkenny, and
Yeah, You didn't introduce me to Corner. I think we came to Corner Gas the same way, but then when I was watching Corner Gas, I realized that you were also into it, and that was
There you go. I feel like I had to have turned you on to something, but now I can't remember what it was.
I did have I downloaded that British show that you wanted me to watch. Need to
The
look
thick
it
of
up.
it.
Yeah.
That is a tremendous show. Malcolm fucking Tucker, you know. I
Yeah.
It's 3 seasons, like 25 episodes, and a movie. Or, I'm sorry, 4 seasons, 25 episodes, and a movie. So
Typical British show. Then.
yeah, and it took years to get the 3 episodes a season. It is on Peacock, so it's not like you had to download it. But
I have the shitty version of Peacock. I'm not watching shit.
Realize you could pay the extra $5 and have the non-shitty version of Peacock.
The only reason that I even paid what I paid for it is because last year for Black Friday, they had I don't know, it was like a really ridiculous price for a year. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and that'll be good enough. And I'm not fucking renewing Peacock this year. Why?
I was gonna say, did you ever watch WrestleMania?
I did. I watched the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Those are the only WWE shows I watched this year.
I thought you didn't watch WrestleMania for some reason. Okay.
I watched the first Raw on Netflix.
I watched the first Raw on Netflix. I did not watch it on Netflix, if you catch my drift. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's funny because I would probably, just because it's on, I would probably watch that some weeks, but we're always recording when it's on.
I would say that now, every so often I get asked to do NXT for the Observer site. And I'm like, I never watch NXT, so I don't know who most of these fucking people are. I think we were recording the show one time when I was when we had it on, and there was this random ass backstage segment that had a dozen people running through. Somebody had the Heritage Cup trophy, and I'm like, I got no idea who any of these fucking people are. And they didn't have any of the they know a lot of times they do the lower third graphics to tell you these people are. They did not have any of those going on at that time. So I'm like, people are running in and out, and there's the Heritage Cup trophy.
Yeah,
and then I remember reading the review on the Observer site to see who all these people were, and the description was basically a whole bunch of people were running in and out, and the Heritage Cup trophy was there. Okay, at least I wasn't the only person who essentially said the same thing.
I watched a little bit last year, just early last year, out of kind of curiosity, and NXT was just so many interchangeable people.
Yeah, I remember watching the first episode of the NXT 2.0, and that may have been the last NXT 2.0 episode I watched, because that was also the episode with the Index wedding. And I loved me some Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis.
Index.
Yes. And that was when Dexter Lumis threatened to murder everybody with a knife when they did the "Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace" moment.
That's fantastic.
I saw somebody post on the internet that the best WCW romance storyline was Colonel Robert Parker and Sister Sherry. And it's WCW did not have many romance storylines. The only other one I could think of was David Flair and Stacy Keibler. And yes, Colonel Robert Parker and Sister Sherry was better than David Flair and Stacy Keibler.
Yeah. There was Tori Wilson and Billy Kidman, and then her leaving Billy Kidman for Shane Douglas.
Honestly, I don't even think they were really on TV. I don't think Billy Kidman and Tori Wilson were a couple. Tori Wilson was his manager, and Tori eventually.
They were a couple.
I know they were a real life couple.
Well, after the turn, they had been a TV couple. I assume so.
I could be wrong.
She explicitly called him her ex and talked about his small penis.
And
In
then
a
so she
promo
dumped
on
him.
Nitro.
Then she dumped him for a man who was minimum 10 years older and apparently couldn't get it up.
Doesn't surprise me.
And it led to that's what led to to Viagra on a pole, because Shane couldn't get it up, and
Oh,
somehow that led to a
yeah.
match where the loser of the match took
Oh,
Viagra. Wouldn't Shane have wanted to win?
I
Wouldn't Shane, like, competitively, he wants to win the match, but because he couldn't get it up, he would want to win the Viagra. However, because he won, that meant Billy Kidman had to take the Viagra. And that led to Billy Kidman walking off with all the Nitro girls.
I fucking Russo.
This also led to, and it's funny because remember Vince Russo had a problem with Dave Lagana or whoever. We talked about this like last week. Whoever it was in WWE that used to write for Friends, uh, Vince Russo had an issue with that guy, and it's funny because like the one week they basically ripped off a storyline from Friends where they had Tori Wilson Appreciation Day, and Billy Kidman showed a video of Tori Wilson as a child, and she was fat because you see Monica on Friends was fat when she was younger, and
Yeah,
it was
I
funny
remember
on
that.
Friends. It was not funny on Nitro. Even though
Yeah,
fat shaming
that's
is
how
not
that
a thing
works.
that you should, is that fat shaming is not funny and you should not shame people for being fat. However, in the year 1999, it was funny. I'm sorry, people. Not everything is meant to hold up 20
Okay.
years later. And as I've complained about before, 10 years from now, there will be shit that's on TV right now that we will say, oh man, I can't believe they got away with that in 2025.
Okay.
Just, you know.
All right, Tim.
Anyway, I think I'm done ranting and raving. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't guess. I don't guess.
Uh, by the way, did you know that you could drool over a ghost?
Um, hmm. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, because a ghost appeared on a recent wrestling show, and this ghost makes me drool. Hmm. Does that ghost ever make me drool?
It's been a very attractive ghost.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right, so that's gonna do it for this week's show. Uh, you know, Trey, we made it through another week.
117 down, 83
Three.
to go.
Yep.
All
This is
right.
why Trey was big in history, not math. But that's gonna do it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.